This video is about the classic rock group BC. BC stands for Blessington Caddy, and those are the last names of the founders of BC, Bill and Ray, Bill Blessington and Ray Caddy. And we started about 40 years ago. In fact, this fall of 2006, will be our 40th anniversary. We had about 35 songs back then, most of which are distant memories at this point. A few of them still around. One or two of them even made it on the radio back then. Today's iteration of BC got started again in the spring of 2025, about a year ago, a little less than a year ago. And to date, Valentine's Day, we have roughly 40 songs. This video is going to talk about the process of those songs. Where do they come from? How do they get put together? To start, Bill and I live approximately 1,000 miles apart. So the achievement of being able to record songs together is no small feat. And here's how we do it. Digital audio workstation. We both have digital audio workstations on our computers, nicknamed DAWs, D-A-W-S. And these DAWs allow us to record songs and information for songs, and then send them back and forth to each other, which is exactly what we do. It starts with a phone call. We'll talk. We'll discuss the possibilities of a new song. We'll discuss the type of song we want to do. Do we want to do a ballad? Do we want to do something more upbeat? Do we want to do something more classic rock, garage type stuff? Once we decide that, we'll go our separate ways, and Bill will put together a guitar line. He'll come up with the music melody, and he'll add to that drums, and he'll add to that a scratch bass, and he'll mix that together roughly into what's called a scratch mix. He sends the scratch mix to me via email, believe it or not. And once I get that file, it comes in an MP3 file, which are the same files that you find online, for example, at Apple Music. He'll send me the MP3 file. I'll put it in my DAW, and then I open it up and listen to it about 15, 20 times. Once I get an idea of what he's done, that's when I start trying to come up with ideas for the lyrics for the song. Right? It can take me anywhere from an hour to days to write a complete lyric. Sometimes it comes fast, sometimes it doesn't come fast. If you are creative in any way, you know exactly what that feels like. But once I have the lyrics, I will talk to him again, and he will sometimes tell me where in the song he envisions the words going. We usually do it by measure. So he might say, I hear the vocals beginning at the 6th measure. Then I hear them breaking at the 10th measure and coming back in at the 20th measure, or whatever. Okay? And then when I go to put the lyrics to the song by singing them and recording them, I kind of have a better idea of where they go. But oftentimes we don't do it that way. Oftentimes I'll just put the lyrics to the music as I hear them. Right? And what will happen is I'll do a scratch mix, just like Bill did a scratch mix. I'll take his music file and my new vocal files, and I will record them together and mix them down roughly, again, called a scratch mix. And then I'll send that file back to Bill. And usually from my end, it will have all the vocals, the lead vocals, the backing vocals, and any other thing that has to do with the vocals. Right? So when Bill gets it back, he's got another layer added to the song. Right? At that point, he'll listen to it. He'll get back to me and let me know if there's any obvious things that need changing, or if it's okay, what he hears is okay. Remember, it's a scratch mix, okay? So it's not ready for mixing at this point. Bill will tell me that it's acceptable, and then I will send him what we call the stems. And the stems are the individual files. So I might send to him the lead vocal stem. I might send him the backing vocal stem. and whatever other vocal stem that I create. I send them to him, and he's able to incorporate that into his DAW with the music stems, and he'll probably at this point have a dozen music stems made up of drums, made up of bass, made up of lead guitar, rhythm guitar, other guitar, and any other instrument that we need on the song, generally. And he'll take those stems and he'll mix them together. And that involves combining them. You might have a song that has 25 stems. And it's his part at this point. He puts on his engineer hat. And at this point, he takes those stems and he mixes them together. And then he mixes them again for equalization. He applies equalizers to each of the tracks. And then once they're together, he does it again. And I'm oversimplifying this. It's way more complex than that. As an engineer / producer, he wears a lot of hats doing that part. Once that's done, and again, it could take anywhere from an hour or two to a couple of days. Once that's done, he'll send the mix. It's now semi-rough, semi-done. He'll send it back to me and I'll listen to it and I'll make any comments I need to make. Sometimes I hear things that he doesn't. Sometimes he hears things that I don't. We put that information together and we can usually end up coming up with something okay. So I'll make my comments, send it back to him, and then he will then look at those comments and see if they need to be applied, or if there's a question, or if maybe I'm coming from left field and the comment doesn't fit. And that's fine. That's why we have two people. We balance each other out when we're writing songs, and it's a good partnership. Once he gets that, he then creates what we call a master mix, and that's the mix that is the closest to the final version that we will come up with. Upon completion of the final master, okay, we will go up to our distribution site that we use, and we'll do an AI master of the song where AI analyzes it, and AI will then equalize it itself using common knowledge regarding levels and things like that for vocals, drums, bass, guitar, all those things. And then the version that AI comes up with is the final polished master, and that's the master that we publish. Okay? It's a somewhat long process. It's a lot of fun, and fun is the key reason why we're doing this. Okay? And usually speaking, somewhere in the middle there, the next song idea will come. So while Bill is working on the scratch mix for the music side, I'm potentially working on the next song. And then when he flips that back to me, I flip my idea to him. So we're different periods, depending on the level of creativity in the output, different periods will have different amounts of songs going back and forth. Sometimes it's one. Sometimes it's literally song after song after song. We went through a period, late summer, early fall, where we were literally writing a song, maybe a song and a half a day. So the output was very good. It's not an output we maintain simply because it's a little difficult on the creativity. It tends to lead to burnout when you do it too fast. But we try to keep the pace that keeps it going, if you will. So in a nutshell, guys, that's how we record from 1,000 miles away, and that's where the songs come from. Okay? Stay tuned. There'll be another video coming up getting in more detail of the process, and thank you for your support. It's much appreciated.